Hey guys, so we got 17 more things that I learned in 32 years. Originally it was gonna be 24 more things, but then I narrowed it down to 17 because I think these 17 are way more important. So I'm just gonna give you the really important stuff here. So we got 17 more things here. We're gonna get right into it. So first one, your beliefs drive your actions and your values drive your decisions. So what does that mean? This is a really important one to kind of grasp. Your beliefs drive your actions. What does that tell you? So for example, I believe that I can create a YouTube channel of value. And what does that belief do for me? It drives me into the action of creating a YouTube channel. If I believe that I didn't or I couldn't, then that would drive the action of inaction, right? Let me give you another example for poker, for the poker players that watch this channel. Your beliefs, let's say like 2 or 3 years ago, people thought like they believed the games were dying. They're like, that's what their belief was. I believe the games are dying. The action you take for that is you quit poker or you start botting, right? People became fucking bots in poker because they believed the games were dead, and that's the action they took because of it. But if you believe the games are alive and kicking, you're gonna study, you're gonna work hard, and you're gonna continue to grind, right? So your beliefs drive your actions and your values drive your decisions. So the values, so let's say you go to a restaurant, right? You see 2 things on the menu. One is that big fluffy burger with the fries, and then one is kind of the healthy option. If your values are health over taste, then you're gonna choose the healthy option every single time. Or if your values are taste over health, you're gonna choose the tasty option every single time. Most people are somewhat in between or don't really know which one they value more. So then they become more indecisive in a situation like that. So your values are always gonna drive your decisions. Like, what do you value more? Do you value money or do you value entertainment more? If you valued money more, you'd be grinding, you'd be studying, you'd be working on your craft. If you value entertainment more, you're gonna be watching a lot of TV, a lot of Netflix and things like that. So your values are gonna drive your decisions on what you do in your life. Number 2, you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't do both. This is great. This goes back to some David Goggins kind of stuff. So you can make money or you can make excuses, but you cannot do both. And making excuses is just like somebody's way of just like trying to give themselves a cop out. And a lot of times you say your excuses and then you start to believe your excuses and then things spiral out of control. So be careful. Be careful. Are your excuses actually valid or are you just making up bullshit excuses? Number 3, there is beauty in everything and it's everywhere you go if you are looking for it. This is a tough one to constantly do, to see beauty in literally everything and everywhere you go. And there is beauty everywhere if you're actually looking for it. Every single thing is beautiful. I mean, just being alive and breathing is beautiful in itself. So if you're really focused on that, you're gonna find it literally everywhere. Like the walls will be beautiful. Number 4, you will never find the love you need in someone else. The love you need is inside yourself. A partner is just a bonus. If you're a single person watching this, if you're a guy or a girl, and you're looking for a guy or a girl to fulfill this thing of like, you're like, if I had this person, I'd be happy. It's definitely not true, okay? You need to love yourself first. And having a partner is just a complete bonus at that. And you really need to understand that if you're looking for something external to make you happy, it's never going to happen. Alan Watts says, if you can't be happy right now, then you can't be happy at all. You gotta be happy right now. And we're gonna have more on this happiness in a second here. So the most important relationship is with yourself. Love yourself enough so that you don't need someone to fill that void. So you need to love yourself so much that you don't need someone else to fill that void. You want a partner, but you don't need one. So that's the key word there. You don't need it. You want it, but you don't need it. You need to love yourself enough so that you shower yourself with enough love that you don't need somebody else to do that for you. And if somebody else does that for you, then it's an added bonus and everything's fucking awesome. Great. Number 6, accept the things you cannot change and have courage to change the things that are under your control. So what does this mean? Accept the things you cannot change and have the courage to change the things that are under your control. So let me give you an example of what are things you can't change. Let's say you're really short. You can't change that. You got to just learn to accept that and be okay with yourself being short. Or if you have a big nose, or you have like deformities on your body, like whatever it is that you absolutely cannot do anything about, you have to learn to accept that. Otherwise, you're just going to live miserably and you're going to drive yourself crazy. You got to be like, you know what? I'm short. I'm going to own up to it. Like, that's that. And I don't use the short example because I'm short. I'm actually quite tall. I'm 6 feet tall. But if you're short, or if you're super tall, let's say like a 7 feet tall, you have to learn to accept that. You're just a tall guy. Like, if people make fun of you for being tall or short or whatever, that it is what it is. Like, you have to own up to that. Like, that's who I am and I can't change it, and that's good with me. And then having courage to change the things that are under your control. Like for me, for example, I wanted to be better at public speaking, talking in front of a camera. So I created a YouTube channel. I started, doing improv classes. So those are things that are under my control. I want to be the best poker player that I can be. Those are things that are under my control. I can study every day. I can implement habits into my life to make sure that that happens. Next one here. You can't alter objective facts, but you can alter your subjective perception of the facts. So you can't alter subjective fact. Let's say, what's a subjective fact that you can't alter? Let's say you got into a car accident. You can't change that, but you can change how you react to that, how you subjectively react to the situation, how you absorb it. Let's say your grandmother passes. Let's say something bad happens in your life, anything negative happens in your life. You cannot change that, so there's no point dwelling on it. You have to change your reaction and the meaning you give certain events in your life. Like, let's say, for example, on Black Friday, poker was gone in America. It was completely finished with, and I couldn't change that. So I decided, like, what's an action that I can take? Like, how can I approach this? How can I make this better? And it ended up being the best thing that ever happened in my entire life. I moved to Canada. I met all these people that I would have never met and never really explored all these places. And my life, the entire trajectory of my life changed because of that. And it was what I thought was a negative thing at first, but it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. This one I absolutely love. A fool is happy when his cravings are satisfied. A warrior is happy without reason. That's what makes happiness the ultimate discipline. A fool is happy when his cravings are satisfied, but a warrior is happy without reason. You don't need anything to be happy. Happy is something you internally are. Like, that's something you want to... It's how you look at the world, how you perceive things is what makes you happy. Like, people are always thinking like that certain things are going to make you happy. There's all kinds of things that might be like little happiness boosts. But I can guarantee you, if you're broke right now and you're unhappy, and then you get whatever you think in the external world that will make you happy, it'll make you happy for a little while, but you're going to go back right to your shit. I guarantee it. Guarantee it, because your brain hasn't changed, your perception hasn't changed. So you're gonna go right back into being unhappy, regardless of what it is. You're like, Jack, trust me, man. If I had a hot girlfriend and if I had a mansion and I had all this money, I would guaranteed be happy. I guarantee you will be happy for a little short while, but you will guaranteed go back to where you were before, when you were unhappy and broke. Your unhappiness has to start from the inside. Your internal world has to start with that. Oh, this one is This one is incredible here. I got to give this one a special shout out here. If you plan on being anything less than what you're capable of being, then you will probably be unhappy for all the days in your life. Don't ever settle. You need to be the absolute most that you're capable of. If you know you're capable of doing more, being more, and you don't take action on it, but it's inside you, you fucking know it, like you feel it in your soul. You're like, I know I am. I know I'm meant to do something bigger, greater. But you don't do it, your soul is just gonna die on the inside. I'm telling you, it's just gonna fucking fry. Like, it's just gonna eat away at you slowly, and eventually you're just gonna be unhappy. And over the years, it's just gonna eat away at you. Like, why didn't you try this? Why didn't you do what you said you were gonna do? And things like this one like really resonates with me in such a big way. And like, I was thinking about this. I was like, before I started my YouTube channel a few months back, 3-4 months back, I was thinking like, what would be the regret if I didn't start this channel? Because I knew I wanted to. I would regret it so fucking much if I didn't do it. Like, and if I did it and everyone laughs at me and like thinks I'm a fucking idiot or a weirdo, then that's totally fine, as long as I actually put myself out there to do it, as opposed to just like stuffing it back inside myself and just kind of living my life thinking what if like all the fucking time. Like, it's the worst feeling. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. And here's another huge one. So a lot of people, they wait for motivation to kick in for them to make some really big changes in their life. And the truth is, motivation is just a bunch of bullshit, to be quite honest with you. I don't watch, motivational videos that much. I watch strategic videos. Like, motivation is like, it can be good, short spurts, you get motivated, you get inspired, and then like you do something, but then if next week you're not motivated, then you stop doing it, then that's absolutely terrible. You need to do things whether you feel like it or not, and that requires discipline. So for example, I don't feel like playing poker every morning when I wake up, but I do it anyway. I don't feel like coaching sometimes, but I do it all the fucking time. I don't feel like, today I didn't feel like making a YouTube video, but I got up and I jotted it down, and I'm making a YouTube video. And at the end of that, you feel so much better and so much more accomplished. And sometimes like I wake up in the mornings and I don't feel like going to the gym. Not every morning where I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go to the gym. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm not motivated, but I do it anyways. You have to keep the promises you make to yourself. And that's how you build more self-confidence, is you keep the promises that you make to yourself, and you do the things that you say you're gonna do, and you hold yourself accountable towards those things. Number 11, if you keep learning and growing every day over the course of many years, you will be astounded on where it takes you. And this is like, this goes back to a book that I read recently called The Compound Effect. The book is so powerful. It talks about, how often things are invisible sometimes. Like, let's say, for example, you go to the gym for 1 hour, one time. It's gonna be like, you're not even gonna notice the difference. It's just gonna be like, you went to the gym for an hour, you came back, nothing changed. What if you read a book for an hour a day? After 1 day or 1 week, not much is really changing. Like going to the gym, reading a book an hour a day, not much really happens. Try doing that for an hour a day for, a month. Maybe you might see some changes there. You're reading books for an hour a day. You're going to the gym an hour a day. Let's say you're studying your craft an hour a day. All those little things that might seem invisible at first. Imagine 2-3 years down the line, who you can become if you do these things that most people are too fucking lazy to do, or it's too uncomfortable for them to do. I guarantee where you will end up in 5 years will be absolutely astounding to you if you do those small things. Do things like that. Read for an hour a day, study your craft for a minimum hour a day, go to the gym for an hour a day, meditate for 15 minutes a day, implement other habits like this into your day. Small little things, could be like 5-minute rituals and things like that. You will see a week will go by, nothing will happen. Like, after years, you're gonna be like, fuck, I never thought I could make it this far. Like, it's insane, like how much it compounds. So those little things add up in such a big way, and the choices you make are far more important than you actually think they are. Like, they're so, so important. Those small little decisions, the small little habits and daily disciplines that you have they can be life-changing when it's compounded over months and years. People become amazing when they are absolutely obsessed with improving. Ask yourself this question. If you were obsessed with improving, then what would you do today, this week, this month, this year? If you were absolutely obsessed with improving, what would you do? And that's when people become amazing, is when they become obsessed with their craft, when they become obsessed with improving themselves. And there's a book on this, Grant Cardone writes, the title says it all. Be obsessed or be average. It's that simple. Be obsessed or be average. You get to choose. The climbing, the struggles, and the obstacles you overcome on your way to success brings you more joy than the outcome. Like, this is a tough one to grasp for some people because they think the outcome is going to bring them the most joy. But it's getting through those things that you didn't think you could make it through and proving to yourself that you can do these things that actually brings you the joy. It's the struggles you go through, the obstacles, those pitfalls that you kind of make it through. That's where the joy comes, as opposed to the end result of hitting your goal. It's that process. It's that climbing and breaking through the barriers, those mental limiting barriers that you have for yourself. Number 14, when you feel anxiety, don't resist it. Push forward and treat it like excitement. Use the energy. This one was so powerful for me to kind of, I don't want to say I got over my fear of public speaking. I mean, I still have that fear. It's still inside me. I just can deal with it a little bit better now. And this helps a lot. So when you feel anxiety, you get like this energy like in your chest. It's like this anxious energy that makes you like kind of want to pull back. And that's what anxiety is. It's like yourself pulling back and resisting. Next time you feel anxious, try to go outwards with the energy and act like it's not anxiety. Act like it's excitement. Act like you're excited instead of anxious. When you're anxious, you're pulling in, you're resisting. When you're excited, you're pushing out. And that in itself is going to help you kind of use that energy in a good way, as opposed to kind of like sucking it all up in your body and feeling anxious. Number 15. 3 more left here. Huge goals require huge change and stepping way outside your comfort zone. Not just a little bit outside your comfort zone, but way outside your comfort zone. So get to work now. So to achieve all those big goals, first of all, set huge goals for yourself long term. But to achieve all those goals, you're gonna need to expand that comfort zone. I talk about that a lot, so I won't get too much into expanding the comfort zone in this video. Number 16, very similar to 15 here. Think way bigger on your long-term goals. Think huge, aim high, act courageous, and see how big you can blow up your life. Every single human watching this video right now is capable of doing a lot more than what they actually think they can do. Like us humans, we put limits on ourselves. We create like these mental barriers on ourselves and these mental disempowering beliefs and limits on ourselves. And we're all capable of doing and being so much more than what we give ourselves credit for. So we got to realize that. Last one here. Be extremely open-minded and listen to other people's viewpoints, because the goal is to find out what's right, not who's right. So listen with an open mind, because sometimes you might be wrong about something. And you have to be quick to admit that you are wrong, because the goal is to find out what's right, not who's right. The who's right game is ego. Then ego battles and the egos going to war about who's right. I don't give a shit who's right. I care about what's right, and let's do what is right and what makes the most sense. I don't care if it was his idea, my idea, her idea. It doesn't matter. We're doing what's right, not who's right. So we're done here with this. There's one other thing I want to mention. I just love this. It was part of a book that I actually didn't like at all. The book was not that good, but I'll tell you a quote from the book. It says, successful people, the people that make it to the top of their field, not only do they work harder than everyone else, they work much, much harder. Too much is in there. Not only do they work harder, they work much, much harder. So think about that, because a lot of people, you might think like working 30 or 40 hours a week is working hard, until you see someone that's putting in 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week. There's a guy I watch on YouTube, he has a video about this. He says if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for yourself, poker players we work for ourselves. If you work 40 hours a week, he says that's part-time. You're part-time if you work 40 hours a week. If you work 60 hours a week, you're full-time. But he says where you want to be, if you want to be the best of the best, he calls this an all-the-timer. If you work 80 plus hours per week, you are an all-the-timer. And if you honestly want the fastest, surefire way to success, you need to be an all-the-timer. You need to work 80 plus hours a week. And people are like, dude, I can't, there's no way. There's no way I can do that. I can't sacrifice all that. If you're not willing to sacrifice, then maybe you might not become successful. But the thing is, you don't have to work 80 hours. This is the misconception people have. You don't have to work 80 hours a week for the rest of your life. Nobody wants to do that. Obviously, nobody wants to work 80 hours a week for the rest of your life. But on your way to the top, you have to put in the hours. You have to put in the 80 plus. And then when you get to the top, where you're at a place where you're just like, I'm happy with where I'm at in my field. I'm in the top 1% or the top 0.1%. Then you can scale back and implement balance into your life. But until then, you need to be obsessed. There is no other way around it. Let me know what you guys think of this video. If you have any comments, let me know. Same like last video. Whatever you took as the biggest thing, let me know what is the biggest thing that resonated with you, or the biggest takeaway you have from here, or the biggest 2 takeaways or 3 takeaways, whatever it is. Let me know what you got out of this video. I'm super happy to be responding to all the comments still at this point in my channel. Until we grow larger, then I might not be able to do that. So while you have the chance, just shoot me a comment in the comments, and let's chat about all these things. And I'd love to start a debate, or just any conversation, or anything you want me to kind of further elaborate on, or something that might be confusing to you that you kind of want more of an example on. Then let me know, and I'm happy to answer that as well. Take care, guys.